Nottingham Forest will host Aston Villa on Sunday. But is it time for Morgan Gibbs-White to Morgan Gibbs-White up? Welcome to the preview. All right, chat. What are you lot talking about already, man? Like, what's this 917 likes, 1,000 likes with one person watching? Honestly, Keith, what you going on about, man? Keith, you've already been on the drink, bro. Hope you guys are all well. Welcome to the preview. And as James says, it's time to step up, boys. Because I got a few questions. I want to start with the most burning question of all. Chat and guys on the panel. What is the greatest Bond film of all time?
Oh.
None of them.
Goldfinger.
Gold member.
Oh God.
I got him there.
Have you got an answer yourself?
I got my own personal one. This is a subjective question.
Of
What was
course,
the one? The guy with the teeth, the metal teeth, and the big guy. What was that? That
Moonraker.
sort of era was good.
Moonraker.
Moonraker.
Goldfinger, right? Everyone's starting to show their. Of course, someone would put Octopussy in.
Of course.
Of course. Oh, don't start. It's too early. We've only just been live a minute. Can I just call out?
I remember that game. Sorry, James Pond.
Can I just call
Martin's
this one out?
the man. Martin, you are the
GoldenEye.
man. I always loved you, Martin. It's GoldenEye by a country mile.
No.
Any with a Bond girl coming
You're
out the
talking about
sea.
games or films? The game is good.
The game's
awesome.
the best game ever.
It's one of the best. It's one of the best shooting
All right.
books ever.
Who's the best Bond girl of all time?
Ursula.
Jacqueline Bisset was a good Bond.
Yeah, Ursula Andress.
Ursula Andress.
Not now.
Not
then.
me.
Wait, who's that? Which one's that? Which film?
She was the one that in Doctor No came off the beach. In the
Bro, she's
bikini.
she's probably dead by now.
Yeah, but that was back then.
No. She wasn't the best one.
Mate,
No,
you're only
sorry,
21.
it's
You've
not.
only seen two Bond films.
You've seen two Bonds. We've seen all 7, mate.
Madeline Kahn.
That's the worst Bond ever on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Was atrocious.
That was.
How can you say that? How can you say
He's
that?
not a Bond, is he? Was that George Lazenby?
George, yeah.
Yeah, he's not a Bond. No.
Nah, you lot, well, you lot don't know your
what you
Bond
started.
girls, man.
Look what you
You're not
Halle
started.
Berry's a good call.
Pussy galore, yeah. On the Blackburn. On the Blackburn, that was. Pussy
Nah,
galore.
there's only one Bond girl that is above all of them. Denise Richards.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah. Good
no.
call. Good call.
Sorry,
yeah.
I don't know who she is. Sorry.
No.
You don't know who Denise
yeah.
Richards is?
Emma,
She's
sorry.
She's not the best. No,
Emma's like, have we joined the wrong stream?
Halle Berry's
Sorry,
Halle Berry's not a
We
bad
didn't think you
shout.
were in yet. That's why we were talking about girls. So now you're in. We'll behave.
Well, now you're in, Emma. Who's your favorite Bond girl?
Halle
No, who's your
Berry.
favourite Bond guy?
Halle Berry.
Nah,
She's
Halle Berry's
very-
overrated. Sorry, she's overrated. She's overrated.
Oh, sorry,
then-
I got that wrong then.
Yeah,
She's not
sorry,
good,
mate.
you got it wrong.
Subjective, but you got it wrong.
You're wrong, mate. You're wrong. Nah, you got the other, you know the one who I liked. She wasn't the best looking one, but it was her accent, man. In GoldenEye, Natalia Simonova.
I tell you who was gorgeous. Fiona Fullerton. She's not shit.
I don't know who that is. You got to tell me what Bond is.
Excuse me.
I don't know what Bond film she was in. I don't.
I could have been a bit
remember.
later, really. I wouldn't have missed much, would I?
What on earth are we talking about?
I don't know. I don't know why I was stuck with it. I don't know why.
Or something, you know? Is it?
Jeez. I could have missed
When we're
the first
playing
minute.
shit, we talk about other stuff. Well, welcome.
Yeah, we're gonna lose.
Look. Come on. That's brilliant.
Hey, FFC.
I like that. Comment of the night.
No, she doesn't jump on an FPL stream. She ain't. No.
She'll be there. She'll come one day when she's
Oh,
starts.
come on, Graham, man. Talk about bringing the mood down.
Thank you, Graham. Back to reality. Wake up, everyone. What we talking about?
On that
Hey,
bombshell.
Bond. Hey, Bond. You fancy a bit? Pussy galore.
Oh, no.
Ivana on top, wasn't she, in GoldenEye as well? The one with the legs that would crush them all. But anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We'll have the fun first, and like
No,
Steve
God.
said, we'll
Depression
then
later.
move on to Forest. So we do the fun bit first.
Well, Em wants to know when it is, though, Ez.
I tell you.
Whenever I
who-
get a laptop. Whenever
I tell you who's my current
Eddie.
favourite. You know, kind of. Ooh, she's rather tasty.
I'm talking about
And
Emma.
that's- And that, of course, but apart from Emma, because I'm not sexist, I don't want to think I'm being sexist. Is
Well, you gonna name a bloke?
You're gonna mention a bloke now.
Scarlett Johansson.
That's sexist.
She's lovely.
That's sexist, mate. I thought you were gonna say
No,
Felipe.
even if she was a man, she'd be gorgeous. So it's not sexist.
Have you seen her without makeup, Em?
Oh, don't talk about that. I know all about that.
Don't look. Trust me.
The biggest disappointment I ever had was seeing Kylie Minogue without makeup. Oh,
God. Right, I can't. Vlaco Dimidelli. He's changing
That
his
messes me up so
Black
much.
Dimidelli.
Better every
What's
week.
on about
Thank
Black
you.
Dimidelli?
The two names I can't say, and he's blended it into one.
Flacco Dimmadel.
Cruel.
Thank you so much for the 2 Swiss francs, my guy. Ez, have you changed your PC, not the background?
Well, yeah, I'm using my brother's PC while he's not here, unfortunately.
Can I
Yeah,
just
no
say hi
one's
to
saying
my? Can I say
All
hi
right,
to my
right,
real life bro? Hi, bro.
Hey,
Oh, hi,
Martin.
bro.
That's my real
Hi,
life bro.
bro.
Is that real
Hi,
life?
Dino's bro.
Yeah,
you're,
yeah,
you're
real
our
life.
bro now.
Hater, you know, is
Any
that the
bro
plat
with
hater?
Dino's a bro of
Is that
ours.
your IRL, bro? Brilliant.
IRL, yeah.
Wait, is that the plat hater, Dino?
Huh? No,
Is that the
no, that's
plat
Andy.
hater?
He's the plat hater.
Everybody's
Andy,
a plat hater.
the eldest brother's Andy, and he supported Forest all through. He went to both European Cup finals, and then Platt took over, and then he went to support Arsenal. A bit like Ant, really.
Yeah. There's a parallel
I
there,
never
isn't
thought
there?
about that, to be honest. A bit like Ant.
There's a parallel.
So
Yeah.
was it Plat that did it for you as well, Am? Oh, God. Do you remember under the Plat era, the player I hated more than anyone? I don't know why. Was Ricky? What was his surname?
Simica.
Simica.
I thought he was
Oh
good,
my God.
man.
I
thought he was really
hated
good.
him.
Why?
He always seemed to be injured. He always seemed to be injured.
He was
I
injured a lot.
hated him.
He
He'd
was
be all right
injured a
today, then.
lot.
He'd
We're going to talk
right.
about football.
We are. We're talking about Ricky. All right, let's get on with the football. Let's get on with the football. Right, let's get serious for a second. I can't. This chat does my head in, man.
Emma, why do you come on the live stream and talk like that?
Yeah, say it to his face. Oh, God.
She's trolling him because she's beating him in FPL.
Yeah.
Talking of
Oh,
Beating
brothers,
all of us, actually.
talking of
I hope
brothers, have you
Langer's
seen what
golden
my
boot's not in
cheeky
here.
sod of a brother's done?
What?
Say again,
I
Ant.
did-
Talking
I
of
did see
brothers,
that
have you
looking
seen what
up.
my cheeky sod of a brother's done?
There you go. How the hell can you swap after
I
2
don't
European
know.
Cup?
Platt.
Mhm.
I don't
I don't
know.
know, Stan. Nathan, speak to
Yeah.
Ant. Speak to Ant. All right. Let's get on with it because the Toon rep in here is actually asking us the Forest questions. Well, these weirdos in the chat are asking some weird stuff. Anyway, let's get on with this. And Ez, I'm glad you're on because I want to start with you, right?
Go.
Because I was lying there in my bed and I was thinking about.
Oh,
On
fuck
girls.
off. I
No,
don't
not
like how
you.
this is starting.
I wasn't thinking about you. I was thinking about Morgan Gibbs-White
Okay.
in a platonic manner,
I
and
don't
like.
care.
And I was there thinking, we spent 40 alleged million on him.
Hmm.
Have we seen a return on our investment yet? And then I thought back to last year, and it was around this time last year, you gave your Churchill moment to Morgan Gibbs-White. And then he went and scored his first goal against Brentford the following day. So I'm kind of just going to put it out there. And chat, what are your thoughts at the moment on Morgan Gibbs-White? And this isn't a hate Morgan Gibbs-White because I get told that, I've got Morgan Gibbs-White goggles. But I think it's time he gets, Morgan, if you're watching, Tristan, if you're watching, make sure Morgan sees this. Ez, is it time for that Ez Churchill speech again to get him
Come
on
on,
side?
Ez.
Because we've only had one assist out of him so far, bro. He's meant to be our main man. Is this the game where Morgan comes back into form and sorts this shit out and gets us something? Over to you, Ez.
Come on, Ez.
Yeah, I'm getting to the stage where I'm starting to think about calling him out. I've been more disappointed with his start this season than I was last season. And I had a little pep talk with him at this stage that he said last season. So, yeah, I think it's about time, mate, because I look at what he's supposed to offer the team and what his role is supposed to be in the team. And I still believe Cooper's building a team around him. And I don't think he's really returning that faith that Cooper's shown in him. For a start, I think he's had an easy ride. I think he's had games where if anybody else was in that kind of form, you would have taken him out and given him a little break from the team. And he's ridden through it. He was dropped for a half of game and then he came back in and he looked decent in that second half. And I could say that he actually helped turn that game. But overall, no, I've been really disappointed with him. And I think it's because he's had such an easy ride of it. Because there is no pressure on him. There's no pressure for his position. There's no pressure for his place. And he hasn't hit anywhere near what we would expect from him. So if you're talking just purely on value for money, we haven't had value for money off him yet. And I think if he's been distracted about possibly trying to get into England team and stuff like that, he's a mile off. He's an absolute mile off. So he needs to really step up his game big time because not only will he be letting himself down, he'll be letting Cooper down. Cooper's shown, like it or lump it, Cooper's shown utmost faith in him and he hasn't repaid even that. So it doesn't matter what the fans think of him actually right now because the man who's given him the opportunity, he's not delivering for him. So, yeah, you need to step up big time, MG-Dub, because it's about time that you became the player that everybody thought you were going to be. And at times last season you were, no doubt about it. And at times last season he changed games and his link-up play was the difference. But this season we haven't seen it. And we're 10 games in. And how much more time does he need to be given? Because if he's not, then you need to think about a whole new structure. Because if you can't build a team around him and he's your top player and he's not delivering, then you need to move on.
Everyone get a bet on Morgan Gibbs-White to score tomorrow. Trust me, it's exactly.
I don't know whether I'm roused or aroused after that speech.
Yeah, it's all right scoring tomorrow. It's bloody Sunday we've got to worry about.
You've just done an Ez.
I know. They're going to be all over it in the chat. And this is a great point by Harvey. Is he being played in his right position or is he square peg round hole scenario?
He's had plenty of opportunities in the right position. I don't think you can lay that one against him solely. And a quality player is a quality player no matter where you put him. I'm sure if you put Zidane on the right wing, he'd be a fantastic player.
Yes.
Yeah, we're disappointed because it's not lived up to expectations. We can see promise here. And it's quite astonishing how every opposing supporter you speak to and say, is anybody in the Forest team that you'd like in your team or you're worried about? Instantly, it's MGW. And I've said on a few occasions on this cast that there's a media loving with MGW because I've seen him play atrociously of coming home and on the radio they're saying what a fantastic player he is. And I'm thinking, you're not doing your job now. You're not telling the truth. Now, everybody's entitled to a pure game now and again, a poor game now and again. Unfortunately, with Morgan at the moment, I'm not seeing anything from him. I'm not seeing any creativity. I'm not seeing any scoring power. There's been the odd through ball that's been magnetic. So it shows he's got it because he's done the odd fantastic through ball and whatever. But for the price we paid, and I think Ez is quite right in one of his things he said where he's got no backup. It's worse than that. It's that Cooper's and others have practically come out and said the team will be built around Morgan Gibbs-White. He must feel, untouchable in that team. And that's the problem. And I don't think at the moment, let's put it this way, if he wasn't Morgan Gibbs-White, if he was a kid coming through the academy, there's no way people would be saying all these things about him. There's no way they would say it. So he's living a little bit off reputation and name at the moment, I believe.
And you say Cooper's building the team around him. I get what you're saying, but this then confuses me because he's not building it around his best position. In my opinion, I don't know what you guys think. I think his best position is the 10.
Yeah, it's more of a fact yes, it's okay to build your team around a fabulous player. That lots of teams do that.
Yeah.
The trouble is, it's not so much he's building the team around him. It's a case of he's getting him in that team no matter what. Whether he's suited to the role, whether he's suited to the opposition, he'll still try and prize Morgan Gibbs-White in. And you're right, that's not doing him any good. It's not doing him any good. He'd be better off being dropped than being put in the wrong position and having to put another poor game, in my opinion. People, please understand, I still love the guy. I still want him more than anything to succeed. I'm not really seeing anything at the minute that suggests he's going to.
Dino, what's your take on this MGW discussion?
He's had more game time than anyone in the last season and a bit, hasn't he? I mean, he's literally played every game other than a little injury, and then when he was dropped for that half a match. I still think we're trying to shoehorn him into a position that doesn't suit Forest as a 10. And I think if you are going to play him as a 10, you've got to play him as a very advanced 10. He comes back too much for me. I think he's stopped the flicks and tricks so much and trying to take the whole team on. But like Ant said, if somebody like Cooper said, we're going to build a team around him, then isn't that a lot of pressure on the young lad? He can't help the fact that how much he cost. That's not his problem. That's how much Forest were willing to pay. That's not him. So, you don't know. He must feel a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I think he'll come good now. I saw enough in the Luton game, and I know nobody agrees with me, but I saw enough in the Luton game that he's simplifying his play, and he just needs to concentrate on what his job is. And his job is primarily to set up chances for the forwards.
Yeah.
And then, secondly, get goals himself. And he's not doing it. He's got 1 assist and no goals this season. And that's his primary role. And he needs to look at that. And Emma put privileged earlier, and we know that he has a good opinion of himself. Let's say it like that. But he's not doing his job. He's not doing his job against other 10s. You look at somebody like, Madison. What was he? Half the price?
He was 40.
I know about saying 40.
Yeah, similar. Okay, but look at him. Look at him. So he needs to look at other players, his peers, I suppose, in the teams around him, and just say, forget the team. Just look at somebody like Madison and say, similar age bracket. Madison's already in the England setup. How do I get there? And it's through effort, clever play, not trying to take on every man and his dog, and just being an assist merchant initially, and then bagging some goals as well.
If
I think you can do that from the right, but I'd still like to see him as an 8.
Do we all agree that do we all agree that he's a number 10 and he's brought in as a number 10? Because I do understand what Dino's saying about possibly moving him to an 8, but he was brought in as a number 10. And how many times out of the 10 games this season have we actually played a number 10?
Yeah, I do totally agree with you, Ez. 100% he was brought in as a 10. But then who's our backup 10?
Yeah, there is
Aguilera. And how many times? Sorry, Anne. How many times does it mess up the formation? When we
got to answer the door. You guys keep going.
That's the problem, Dino. He was brought in as a number 10. Nobody plays with a number 10 anymore. Tottenham do, and look at their number 10. He's the only one that you say he's got to look at his peers. Well, his peers basically is Madison. You tell me another number 10.
Yeah.
But you look at Madison's heat map. Look at Madison's heat map and look how deep he comes to come and get the ball. He progresses it from his own penalty area at times. So he's developed his play to fit in with the system that Ange wants at Tottenham. This is what I'm not seeing from MGW, enough adaptability. Because if we have to change the way we play, then he needs to move along with that. You can't be a one-trick pony. If that position that he thinks he's best in, and I think I agree that he'd probably be best if we played the number 10. That's his position. But if that's not what we're playing, then he needs to be more adaptable. We talked about Jono last season, how on certain sides of the field, I don't know what you're laughing at. Jono was strictly right side of our midfield. We've seen him for Tottenham playing left side. I don't want to go into a Jono rant, but good players need to be able to adapt to their positions. And if he's not being played as a number 10, I've not seen enough from MGW to say that he can play wide on the right, because he doesn't look comfortable when he plays wide on the right coming in or wide on the left coming in, as he was towards the end of last season. So he needs to do a lot more to make himself undroppable, because at the moment, I don't think he is undroppable. If I was,
how do you think Maddison would perform coming in off the right? I think he'd perform a lot better, if I'm honest.
But that's what I mean. But he's an adaptable player, so he's adapted his game. You know,
he's technically better as well than MGW is.
I don't think MGW's done that.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he is.
You know, the difference is between what I see in Maddison and what I see in MGW is Maddison does pick the ball up from Basuma a lot. So in that CDM position, and he'll bring it forward and lay it off. But he's then sprints to get to the forward line and join that 4-5 up front on that line, like the attacking line. Whereas Morgan tends to stay in that hole. And that's the difference between Maddison and MGW. Yeah. MGW stays in the hole, whereas Maddison goes from here to here very quickly and joins the attacking line. But also
there's an end product from Maddison. And we got to labour on it a little bit, actually. MGW's finishing is horrific. It's not just bad, it's horrific. You know, how many shots has he actually hit the target with? When he does get an opportunity, he seems to rush it. There's no composure. So he's got no end product. So there's no point in him going any further, because you can't finish off a chance. So Maddison's, you know, he is probably the best number 10 for England, let's put it that way, if we just narrow it down. And MGW is a mile off him, but he's got so much to his game. MGW needs to do the basics right, you know, take him off corners. Em's mentioned it already. Take him off corners. I've seen a couple of corners from the likes of, I know Williams put a couple in towards
Nico,
the end of the game.
Yeah.
You know, they were a lot better.
Dominguez could.
Dominguez,
yeah.
that was the name I was searching for. But I think at times he's got so much more to improve in his game. His price tag was what it was, and that's what we had to pay to get him. But he hasn't lived up to it yet, and he needs to really add a lot more to his game for me to be undroppable. But he's undroppable at the moment because he's Cooper's number 1, isn't he? But if you're going to be objective about it, he shouldn't be in the team at times. You know, he should be dropped.
To be honest, I'd be disappointed if he came to us for 15 million at the minute. I'd still be saying the same thing. It's not that he's not living up to his price tag. He's just not playing well. And I've always said the way I judge a midfielder on class is when they look like they've got time. Now, Maddison, he gets the ball. He looks like he's got time and space. It seems to me, and you can blame other Forest players if you like, but it seems to me that every time he gets the ball, he's in a rush. He always seems to be in a rush. That's why the trips come in. And I'm thinking to myself, hang on, Morgan, can't you just receive the ball, step back and make some space for yourself and look like you've got, you know, and then you can play the balls, which is what Maddison does. Whereas Morgan always looks like he's flicking and tricking and you know,
he looks worried in possession.
Maddison's a great player.
The point about Emma, I think actually needs talking about, because we talk about technical ability. Corners and free kicks, that's where your technical ability shows, and there's none. There's none. He should not be on those corners and free kicks.
And they haven't improved, because you were pissed off about it from day one last season.
Yeah, a long time.
You see an improvement in the corner qualities. The only improvement I've seen is that he can now overhit them rather than just always hitting the first man. So he's got more height on them. But let me ask you boys this question. I kind of want to point it Ez's way. I don't know why, but I just do. A couple of the guys have said it. Tricky Mickey saying, is he missing Jono? That also came from Emma as well. But before we do, just got a quick super chat from Crypto. Thank you for the £2, bud. MGW stays in the hole. So he's basically cheating. Only Crypto. You know what?
How do I follow
Friday night. It's pervert night.
We had to read that out, folks. He's paid for it.
He's paid for it. You can say what you want when you pay for it. But yeah, go on, Ed. You start us off on this one, because I know John is your boy. Do you think he's missing?
He was. John is not my boy anymore. It's Dominguez. Have you not been keeping up with? No. It's the same conversation we had last season. Is Jono missing Jed? You know, how long are we going to keep going on about these kind of things for? You know, it's a bit of a sentimentality. He's he's a Premier League player playing for one of the most historic teams in football. And he shouldn't be missing his mates from earlier on in the season. No, he's got to be bigger than that. You know, if it was between, like, I think you mentioned on your preview earlier with the Villa guy, who was actually pretty good, to be honest. Talking about how, you know, last season, any mention of our players, it was always MGW and Jono, you know. Now it's MGW on his own. So he's the main man now. So why he should be whimpering after his mates or anything like that, I don't understand. But he's got better players around him now. And that's what I'm not seeing, that an improvement in his game by having better players around him. So he can shed a tear for Jono. I'm sure there's no point in it because Jono's much better off financially and everything else than he was at Forest. So there's no need for him to be pining after his mate. He needs to step up his game, simple as that. There's nobody else to blame for what you put out, you know. So as a footballer, as a Premier League footballer, as somebody who has had a lot of money invested in him, he shouldn't be looking anywhere else. He should be stepping up. And I think that's what my call to action is from him. Step up, mate. Step up to the plate and be the man that you're telling everyone you are, you know, because we've heard stories about MGW behind the scenes, and he is a bit of a prima donna. You know, he does like things his way. So if you're going to be like that behind the scenes, you need to on the stage, on the big stage, you need to perform. You know, so yeah, I don't think he should be missing any of his mates or pining after anybody else.
Can I just turn your face at this comment?
We've got more points and more goals and less goals conceded than the same time last season. What do you mean we're struggling without Brennan?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Bollocks, that is. But let me go back. Sorry, everybody's entitled to their opinion. It's not bollocks. I just happen to disagree with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's always easy when a player leaves and you're going through a dry patch to say, look at how we said it about Jed last season. Oh, if we had Jed, we'd be winning the Premier League. No, we wouldn't.
We would have.
No, but what I was going to say was, people are saying MGW is missing Brennan. He might be missing him as an outlet. Because I remember talking many years ago to a guy called Neil Webb, who used to be a midfielder for England and Forest.
Oh,
and he said to me, yeah, well, you know, you got it, haven't you? He said to me, he said to me, Franz Carl made my career. He says, because when I was in that centre, if ever I was in trouble, I could just boot it out to the right wing and I knew Franz Carl would be there and take it on. And that's gospel. That's Neil Webb. And I think MG might have had a bit of that last season. Any problems? Out to Jono. Easy ball. Out to the wing is an easy ball. So maybe he's missing him in that respect, that he's not looking quite so good because he's not got that easy out ball. Now he's got to use his brain and try and find somebody else. That's a worry if that's the case, because he should be better than that.
Sure.
I put the poll up, chat. I've got to ask it, seeing that Ant just dismissed all of you that said so. But do you think MGW is missing Jono? 64% of you so far.
I might say yes. For the reasons I've just mentioned. It was an easy out ball for him.
Can we make sure that Ant is wrong and make sure the poll goes yes, please?
I don't think he's.
No, he just said yes. He's voted yes himself.
Wait, vote no. Everyone vote no. Go on, Dino.
I don't think he's personally missing him. I don't think he's personally missing him. I agree with Ant that there's that out ball that's easy for a very fast winger, one of the fastest in the league. But you know, he's a professional footballer. He's sensible and intelligent enough to be able to adapt. But the problem is that a lot of these players haven't. I mean, you look at the wingers we've got. They're in and out. They're in and out either because we play a narrow formation or injury. So he's not really had chance to get that bond with them yet and understand where they want the ball played. Understand where they want the ball played. But yeah, Jono was an easy outlet for him. Whether he's missing him or not, I'm not so sure. But, you know, he needs to... For me, Jono needs to look at his own game. And like I say, if he looks at the likes of Maddison, look how he transitions up the pitch very, very quickly and get to the forward a bit further up the field, rather than... He tends to mill around between the central defensive midfield position and the halfway line for me, a lot. If you look at his games, there are a lot down that channel there. So, yeah, I mean, I think that You know, he's got he's not worried about other people and his teammates. He just needs to find whoever's running. The problem is not enough people are running. You know, certainly from the 2 8s not running enough.
Yeah.
Dominguez does it a lot, but then you've got Mangala who doesn't do it at all. I mean, the only time I can remember Mangala forward is when he scored. And then Sangare is he doesn't do it either too much. So he's not got many options to pass to. That's what I'm trying to say. He's not got many options to pass to.
That comes from just quick point. What? No, I was just going to say a quick point about that movement. That comes from confidence. If you know the ball's going to stick and somebody's going to pass it on, you're going to make those runs. If that doesn't happen, you make a couple of runs and it doesn't, and if the ball doesn't stick, you're going to stop doing it. So that is down to the way we play, and we don't have a strike. Taiwo's definitely improved in that manner, but holding on to the ball, we just don't have it at the moment. You know, we don't have somebody who does that. And a good number 10 is able to do that as well. And I've not seen that from MGW. He's not somebody who holds on the ball, waits for people to run past him and then plays the ball through. He doesn't do that, does he? So he doesn't work well with his back to goal. So he needs to improve his game. Sorry, that's my.
It's almost like he panics a lot of the time. I'm not saying he does, but it looks that way because he seems to rush a lot of things. I mean, he's a young player. He can improve. He's young. I don't want people to think we're all down on him. We want him out and blah blah blah.
No, I just think it needed to be spoken about because I think, look, we've called, say, Joe Worrell, for example, when he's been playing crap. We called him out. Yeah. To be honest, I think MGW's had an easy ride. And I just thought it's worth discussing because I won't deny it. He's still my favorite player in the team. But I just wanted to do this mainly because when we did it last time, Ez got him to score a goal. So get your money on it for something. Honestly, that's my whole motivation to do this. The one time we've done it before, Ez got him to score a goal. Cool. Okay, I'll put a poll on just because you guys are asking for it. Would you drop him or not? 65% said yes. You turncoats.
Can I just bring this comment back? You did put it up earlier. Yeah. A great comment this is. Tottenham do attack. In the attacking phase for Tottenham, they end up with 6 up front and they cover all the half spaces. It's fantastic to see. Or 5 at a minimum. They end up going 2-3-5 in terms of the formation in their attacking phase. And if MGW had that, then I'm sure he'd find a lot more key passes.
Yeah. Well, it'd be easier, wouldn't it? Let's be honest, it would be easier for him.
Let's move on. I literally wanted to spend all I wanted was Ez to go Churchill for 5 minutes, and then that guaranteed MGW score. It's 35 minutes later.
Hey, don't forget, 15 of that was talking about James.
The other problem we have is when we have MGW inside, it absolutely fucks up the formation. That's the biggest problem because nobody plays, apart from Spurs, nobody plays a number 10 anymore. And he's trying to put that guy in it. You know, I love him, etc., etc. But there are times, I think I said in the last game, we need to drop MGW so we can have our proper front 3, our middle 3, and our back 4.
He'd make a good 8, man. He'd make a good 8. You're
Mike,
right, and when you said that.
Mike, I love you, Mike. I love you because you're segueing so perfectly into our next topic and you're shutting Ant and Dino up. Thank you, bro. Something I've never been able to figure out. Thank you so much for the £5. January window can't come quick enough. We need 2 more attackers. We need 2 more attackers. 2 more attackers competition for MGW and Taiwo. As much as I love you, bro, you need a bit of structure to that sentence, but I get what you're trying to say there. Thank you so much, Mike, for the £5. This is what I want to talk about. So I want to talk about Taiwo and this cryptic message we got. Just before I do that, just quickly, I'm going to close that poll. 63% of you would drop Morgan Gibbs-White. And please take a quick second, hit the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe. You know the drill.
Go on.
Let's kick this one off with you, Dino. Taiwo, you watched Cooper's press conference today, yeah? Can you please decipher what the fuck he was saying about?
I think, I think he's got an injury that needs an op, needs an operation, but he can get through certain games. And I can't remember who had it the other season. There was another player that had it where they were playing through, but then at the end of the season they had an operation. So I think it's something like that. I think that's the problem. But he's so key to us up until January. I mean, we desperately need a good quality striker in January. And I think 2 quality wingers as well to back up who we've got.
Chris Wood will be back by then. Don't panic.
Well, that's fine, Chris Wood coming back, but I still think we need 2 wingers as well. Because Cooper himself even said he wants to play the 4, and I think he will play the 4-3-3 against Villa. Personally, I know I've seen some 5-back formations, but if everybody was fit, I think he'd play a 4 at the back. And I think his formation going forward is 4-3-3, and we're too light up front to play 4-3-3 all season. That's the downside.
Mm.
So for me, I think Taiwo, will he start? I think in a way, I don't know, he's got to, but he won't get a full game. Is he
bluffing, Dina? Is he bluffing like I'm saying?
No, I think there is a problem there that's a bit deeper than. I think he can get through some 90 minutes, but if you give him 10 games at 90 minutes, it'd send him backwards.
Yeah, I see that as well, Mark. It says I read it the same way. We're gonna play him basically until there's a gap big enough to put him under the knife.
AFCON.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's it. You've hit the nail on the head. This is all bullshit to keep him here over January, isn't it?
But there's a very similar situation happening right now at Chelsea. They had 2 players out with bad hamstrings. They had Reece James out and they had Badiashile out. Badiashile had an operation. He was out for 5 months, but now he's back, and the chances are he's back. Reece James, they're trying to nurse him, and look what keeps happening to Reece James.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's the situation we've got with Taro. He needs surgery, but he can get through the odd games now and again. So do you take him out for 5 months and get him right? Or do you keep playing him through, hoping he can get to AFCON or the end of the season or whatever? I think that's what they're dealing with at Forest at the moment.
All right, what would you do, Ant? What would you do? Holy shit! I've never heard him go silent.
We're just speechless.
I'd push him through it. As long as it's not making it like worse, so that when he does have the operation, he's out longer. As long as it's not going to add to his recuperation time from his surgery, I would push him through as far as we can. And then when it comes to it, get him under the knife, because we need the guy. Now in January, we can address it because we can go to the market. So until January, I'd be tempted to push it. I'm not a medical expert, so I don't know how bad it is and how much it affects him. But if he can get through games until January, that's what I would do. And then get a good striker in and put him under the knife, or end of the season, whatever.
But this just annoys me. There's a video coming out on this tomorrow, by the way.
I'm going to bring that up. Yeah, another defender.
Yeah, the reason I haven't spoken about it today is because we got a video on it tomorrow. There's been too much content today. We couldn't put it in anywhere else. If we're signing a fucking centre back, we got Taiwo, who's rigging, the new
right hand side equivalent of Murillo, and if we had 2 like that,
but seriously, like, where's the only striker we've been linked to is I forgot his name now, Guirassy from
Frankfurt, is it?
Yeah, Frankfurt, that's it.
Yeah,
but that's dead. Like, should we not be hearing more about strikers than another centre back? We've already got like 9 of them, man.
Yeah, I mean, just like Ant said, I'm excited by the sound of this guy, but that's not where we should be putting our focus on right now. And it is kind of worrying that we haven't heard any links with attacking players as such. Not just a striker. I mean, I agree with Dina. We need wingers. We need a couple of wingers to be able to play the formation that I think would suit us best. So it is worrying if we haven't been linked with us. But I do like the sound of this guy, and it does sound like a right-sided Murillo. But we've got Bamadelli as well, waiting to come through. Yeah. So, I mean, I do like the planning for the future. I understand that. But where I think our problems are, and I think it's clear for every Forest fan to see where we're short. That's not where we're hearing any links. So that is a little bit worrying. Maybe I'm sure they're thinking about it, but I'm sure it's good in a way that there aren't any leaks coming out, because what we don't want is to be usurped, because January is the hardest transfer window, because prices are going to be overpaid. Players are going to be at a premium unless you're getting somebody coming into their last 18 months of their contract or something like that. You're not going to get any deals in January.
Or Brazil, where their season's different.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you got to keep your cards close to your chest, especially with the attacking players. So I can kind of understand it why there hasn't been any leaks, but I would definitely be focusing my attention as the recruitment team on attacking players in January, because that's one where we're going to be losing our most key players, as far as I'm concerned. And it's not just AFCON. From an FPL point of view, guys, there's an Asian Cup as well going on. So players like Son, just from an FPL point of view, players like Son will be going out at the same time as well. And that's in January as well. So just bear that in mind when you're picking your teams and doing your wildcards and stuff. But we are going to be losing key players, so you gotta be looking at attacking players anyway. That's where we're short. That's where every single Forest fan will agree that we're short. And it would be nice to hear a few leaks, but I can also understand why nothing's coming through at the moment.
This is fairly critical for me. It's fairly critical for me, and it's the difference between us fighting relegation again this season. Although I don't think we'll go down because of the teams that are below us, but being down there and being 10th, I think that's the difference. With if we don't get anybody in January to cover those 3 positions up front, we're going to be at the other end of the table, unfortunately. And that's not being negative. There's just no way around it. We're not scoring enough goals as it is. We're not creating enough chances. We're not scoring enough goals. So being light up front with so many injuries, it's going to be even worse. It's just going to be like a defence-happy team for the rest of the season if we don't sort it out in Jan. So it's critical for me that we get attacking players in. And we don't need any more defensive. At the minute...
What? I have a solution. And are you with us, or are you
fit? Are you fit, Sunday?
Mate?
Oh yeah. And by the way, this is Rob, who I did the Cooper and Cooper out debate with. Hi, Rob. And I think he's spot on. We have 2 wingers that are sitting there on loan. And would you bring Dennis, and I'll chuck Scarpa in as well? Let's assume they can, depending on their contract. But would you bring them both back in? Because I'm sorry, Dennis didn't get given a chance.
You say I'd bring in Scarpa as well as an afterthought. I'd bring Scarpa in, absolutely, mate. I'd bring Scarpa in, and Dennis as well. Yeah, I would bring them both back. Why? We've got 2 bodies there that are very talented players, both of them. Whether you like Dennis or not, he scored 10 goals in the Premier League for Watford. He can do the job. And I've seen little glimpses of him where he's looked good. He needs a bit of a run in the game and he needs building up a little bit. But Dennis and Scarpa, absolutely. Why are we going out looking for other wingers? Are you going to get better than them 2?
But my argument, I'm not disagreeing with you, and I'm still not 100% sold on Dennis, but I'll go with you guys on it. But what's the point with the manager that we've got at the moment? He did not want him. He did not play them. There's absolutely no point in bringing them back and sitting them on our bench or, sitting them in the stands. They're not going to get a game under Cooper. So there's absolutely no point.
Good point.
Absolutely no point at the moment. I'm sure a different manager would think in a different way.
He's not here in January, Ez.
Well, that's what I mean. That's about to say. A different manager may see those players in a different, with a different eye, and maybe want to bring them back in. I mean, the other one, Omar Richards, has he had a single minute?
He's injured again, Ez. He's injured.
But this is what I mean. So it's frustrating. But I understand what you guys are saying about Dennis and Scarpa. But under this manager, there's absolutely no point. Let's just move on.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Cooper's under any pressure. Looking at his press conference today, he didn't look under any pressure whatsoever.
Oh, he is under pressure.
Oh, he's under pressure. I saw a lot. I mean, let's just you brought it up. I just wanted to mention a couple of things that I noticed about it. He definitely keeps going on about the fans and the atmosphere. And I've been to. I am going on Sunday. Yeah, I am going on Sunday to this Villa game. But I've missed a few this season, and. But the ones that I have been to, the atmosphere has not been all that at all. Ant can tell me, I'm not sure we've had this conversation. I'm sure I've not missed anything in the games. And there was some boos at the end of a Luton game, for example, which I haven't heard in a while out at City Ground, not since Luton days, that's for sure. And I just kind of feel like he's just deflecting pressure off himself. And I think from what Dino was saying, I think it was the opposite. I think he's under pressure and he was almost like smiley, everything's all right. On the surface, he's making it look like it's all right. But I think deep down, He's under a hell of a lot of pressure, and he needs to be as well. I'm sorry, there's no Premier League manager who isn't under pressure. Even if you're Pep Guardiola, you're under pressure. There's not a single one, so he should be under pressure. That's the job that he's paid for, you know.
I promise you, he has not got the season. He will be fine if he gets a result or two coming up. But and just on that point that Ez was making, the atmosphere at the City ground. They are, Ez is right. He did allude to it and talk about, the fan support and what have you, and all the other boring bellends as well on YouTube have been saying similar stuff, that it's on the fans to do it. Where do you stand on this? And chat, where do you stand on this? Is it for the fans to push the players, or is it for the players to push the fans, or is it both? And chat, what do you think?
With me, I think it's a bit of both. I mean, I've been to a lot of football matches, believe you me, and if the team's playing boring, negative football, the crowd's never up. I mean, people will tell you about Liverpool. They won 3-0 last week against us, and they'll tell you it was silent in there because there was no pressure. There was no, jeopardy in the game. And I mean, last season we rode the crest of getting promoted, so the fans were unbelievable. But I'm afraid football moves on, and in your second season, you we're Premier League now. We want to see a bit more. We want to see us going up that table now. Just surviving is no longer what we're aiming for. So obviously the fans want to see something, and if they're not seeing that, if they're not seeing something they can believe in, then they're going to be quiet. And it has been. I mean, there's been times this season when I've been at City Ground when I've been like, fucking hell, it's quiet in here. We've got this reputation, and we've built up a fantastic reputation of being incredible fans. And I thought, this is spoiling our reputation. This is, people are going to go away on their vlogs and say, well, it's quiet at the City Ground today. And I don't want that. The only thing I would say is that we've played shit teams this season where we've expected to win. Absolutely, nobody can deny it. We've expected to beat Sheffield, Burnley, Brentford, the other one.
Luton.
We expected to win. Yeah. And if you're not playing sparkling football, the crowd sit there thinking, well, come on then. What's going off here? Now, this match on Sunday is against a very, very good team. So I think the atmosphere will be, I'm hoping, and I believe the atmosphere will be better, because I think the Forest fans will feel they need to push the team on. Whereas in the other games, they felt, well, we shouldn't need to, But that's what I believe. So I'm hoping Sunday will be a lot better. Yeah,
but that's the same again, though. Should we have to be the ones pushing them on? Because last season there were times, let's be honest, where we knew we weren't the better team against some of these opposition. This season, all the games that we played so far at home, I would have said we were the better team. We should have been a better team in those games.
That's my point, Ez. That's my point. Yeah. That the Forest fans went there with expectation, and it wasn't coming to fruition. So they were getting frustrated as well as bored. They were getting frustrated.
I understand that. But then, like you say, going into this game, then do Forest fans need to do a bit more because it is a bigger game? But the players should be looking at it that way, surely, shouldn't they? They should be saying, look, if we haven't performed against these less things. And I think the other point, sorry, just while I'm on it, the other thing that I think really harms us is the difference in formation from playing away from home and playing at home, playing against a top 6-7 team and playing against. I think that we just haven't got the quality of players in terms of having that one, experience in the Premier League, two, being able to adapt to different formations. I don't think we've got that right now, and I think it's harming us. Cooper needs to stick to a formation and I think just play with it through thick and thin and get the players understanding that formation, because it's chopping and changing. We're seeing it's not working. It really isn't.
Can I just mention this? Eddie's crowd reacts to the team. I agree with that. And if they're not putting in the effort, neither does the crowd. But I do agree with what Rob put earlier, that it kind of goes hand in hand. And when the players feel like they need it, if you see them do this to the crowd, don't you? That's when they're sort of crying out for that extra man, so to speak. So I do think the crowd plays a part. But on the flip side, have we not got the best away support in the country that out-sing almost every single?
No, Liverpool was flat, Dino. Liverpool was flat.
but so were their fans.
Take away the last few games. Let's take last season. As an example. Our away support is just incredible. yet our away form was awful. So
Exactly.
I kind of get the correlation, but then I don't get the correlation. The players, I'm sorry to say this, and I know a lot of people hate it, but they get paid enough as a professional. You know, in my job, I don't need my clients standing there clapping at me for me to do a good job. I don't. And it's the same thing.
To be honest, I don't think money is the motivation. Once those players cross that white line, I think it should be competitive spirit, not money. I don't think they're out there thinking, I'm going to play well today because I get paid this much money. I don't think they even think about the money. When they're out on that pitch, I think that they think they should want to, you know, be the best that they can be for themselves, for the team, and for the supporters.
I agree.
Do you know,
That's
don't
the
you
lower
think-
league.
don't you think it was so much
Dino
better-
on it.
Go
Go on,
sorry.
Esther.
No, I was going to say, I just to the guys, you know, don't you think it was so much better back in the day when the wages were lower and you relied on your goal bonuses and you win bonuses and things like that? You know, it doesn't matter nowadays, does it? You know, when you the kind of money that they're on these days, there's no incentive to play a little bit better. But that was, just my point. I think there should be more performance-related bonuses.
I'm sorry, mate, but if you go back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, some of the crowds were pathetic. They were pathetic. I mean, we couldn't even fill half of our stadium most of the time. You know what I mean?
It is true. But even I go back to when we were doing the playoffs, in 03, that season. In the semi-finals, the atmosphere wasn't like it was when we played them again 2 years ago. So I'm kind of with Dino on this one. I think it's the players' responsibility, if I'm being honest. The fans doing it is a bonus. It really is. It's a bonus, and it's something that here's the key thing for me: the fans, like getting loud and boisterous, that should be earned by the players. It should not be guaranteed, because otherwise, that in itself can cause complacency. Because if you're seeing mediocrity on the pitch, for example, and you're applauding and being loud about it, that in itself could be giving some players a free pass. So that's kind of where I stand on it. The last season, the atmosphere was like I've never heard before in the games I was at. Even when you go to, I went to like the Arsenal's game, the Man City game, flat.
All the good ones.
In their crowd, flat, 11 goals to 0. I really enjoyed those two. But do you know what I mean? It's like, I think it has to be earned in some respects, but at the same time, I do get it when it's given as well. It's a complicated one.
I can give you the perfect example, actually. Sometimes you watch a game and it's really flat and the crowd's flat and the game's flat, and then somebody comes in with a crunching tackle and it gets all the crowd up and everything. That shows you that the crowd react to the players. You've got to do something to earn that.
That's exactly what I'm
saying. Games, those moments, but it's instigated by the player, not the fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
Okay, so let's move on
for once.
I don't know. I kind of think we all agree that we don't agree, but we kind of agree with a little bit of everything. No.
Why do you have to complicate things?
Okay. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about is, and I just put a poll on that, by the way, and 27% say players, 16% said the fans, and 56% said both. Okay, I want to move on to this topic because Danilo is.
Before you do, shall I put my advert?
Segue killer.
Huh?
Shall I put my advert out? When am I going to put my advert out? I don't want to leave it till the end.
All right, then go on. Ant's got two tickets for Villa. Does anyone want them?
No, not for Villa. Let's get it. Fuck me.
I think said Villa.
I've got two spare tickets at face value for the Brighton game. One, unfortunately, is sitting with me, and the other one is sitting a few seats away. So
the one not with Ant is going to cost you more than the one with Ant.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have the other one.
If you want those tickets, just drop us a WhatsApp and we'll sort it out offline. Just put in !WhatsApp in the chat.
I'm not going to that one, guys. So you got my ticket. That's one sat next to Ant, unfortunately.
Oh God! Oh God!
How do you know it's the one sat next to me?
It's not next to each other, are they, Ant? No.
No, they're not. Unfortunately, one of them's a few seats away.
What end,
so
Dan? What end?
There's four of us in a row, and then there's one a little bit away.
That was the token brown guy has chucked on the next
the little
row.
Muslim friend, stick him in the corner.
Yeah. What stand is it in?
Brian Clough upper.
Okay. Yeah, and
I
as
think
as
it's about on the halfway line. So the good tickets, I think they're about 49 quid or something like that, 52 quid. So I can let you know the exact price, but
Yeah.
they ain't cheap.
I've already had a message. Someone wants the tickets. Oh, wait, it's Marky Boy. All right, Mark, we'll sort it out. So, Mark's interested. Mark, are you sure?
Which Mark? Which Mark?
Is that way Mark?
No, let Mark. You've got to pay Ant, not Ant pays you.
Yeah, when I said the 50 quid, that's not me paying you.
Drop us a quick message if you're interested, and we'll sort that out offline. The WhatsApp number, I'm sure someone's got it. I'm sure Martin's in the chat, isn't he, Martin? Can you put the WhatsApp number?
Martin's always in the chat.
So let's move on and talk about this, because this is interesting, right? Well, at least I think it is. So Danilo back into the squad. Cooper confirmed he's making diagonal runs in training, but not full zigzags. Okay. I think he's fit enough to play, and I actually think he'll be named on the bench Sunday. But I just want to have this conversation, because one of the sentences Cooper put in there was Danilo will start to feature in the games in the next couple of weeks, aka he will be in the starting team. So it felt to me like Danilo is in Cooper's starting 11 plans. And you all know what I'm going to ask you. And who's the next person I need to pick on first? Dino. You know the question that's coming, and chat's coming your way.
Who do you drop?
Who do you drop?
Right, this is going to upset some people.
Answer that, Sai, I fully agree with you. Yeah, but he was being played more in a 6 and on the right wing, not in his 8 position. Yeah, I fully agree with you. So he does need to go back into his correct position, Sai. Well, I'm just saying on what Cooper said, right? And yeah, I mean, some of you may say dugout seat. But go on, Dino, kick us off, chat. And let's go.
Eddie and Emma have got that right. I think he'll be on the bench. But when he does come back in, I think Mangala's going to sit out.
No, Dino, I'm saying not for specifically Sunday, but from the way Cooper hinted, he's coming into his 11. Yeah.
And I think Mangala's played quite well. But here's my theory. We're struggling up front at the minute for bodies. So he could play a 5-back at some point over the next few games, right? Listen, hear me out. With Murillo in the middle of the centre backs, but in our attacking phase, he'll come forward to be that defensive midfielder with those long passes. And then our 3 midfielders, which will be Danilo, Sangare and Dominguez, will then join the attack. How about that? How does that sound, everyone? How
about you just said I would have dropped Mangala for Danilo and saved us all the geeky technical jargon, man?
I'm geeky and technical. I'm just geeky. That's just who I am. Passes per 90 minutes and that, all that lot.
I agree again, but he did start scoring, yeah. So you can't have that on him. Dino's a low block.
No, not low block. No, I never said low block. Never said low block.
At least Simon's firing in the comments. All right. I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't. I'm saying who would you? So Dino, you've basically said in between all that geek high press stuff. By the way, it's a new video on high press.
You can't drop Dino for Mangala, right? So don't get me wrong. I think Mangala's probably been our best player in the last few games, but we have a problem up front, Si, and this is the problem. And the problem is we're not creating enough, getting forward enough, and not scoring enough. For that to change, there's nothing going to change up front. Taiwo's Taiwo, the wingers are the wingers, and MGW is MGW, right? And thanks, Proxer. So for me, the 5 in defensive phase turns into a 4 at the back, and Murillo moves up into the 6 because he can. He's got good tackling. He's got a great passing range. That's a perfect 6 for me, right? And then in front, you've got 3 8s that can get forward, filling those half spaces. So you've literally got, you can do your Tottenham 5 up front, no problem.
Dino, in what planet do you think under Cooper will be playing these fucked up, aggressive attacking?
I'm going to call him later after the stream and have a chat.
Right? Because all that will happen, is Murillo will stay in defence, Danilo will join him, so will Sangare and Dominguez, and you end up with an 8-back. And all this freaking FIFA style tactics you're trying.
Come from?
Bloody hell, man. Bloody hell.
Murillo is part of a back three centre backs, but in attacking, when we go forward, he will move forward and he will take the six.
I can't. And,
honestly, you don't know what the chuff you're talking about. Like, I'll draw it out for you and I'll send it to you on a little graphic.
Like, would you be saying he's like S level? Is that what you're saying here?
How will you know? I mean, he's got all the attributes to play at that six, hasn't he? Huh?
He loved it. He loved it.
No monetization on this.
He created an entire video just so he could play that bloody song.
Oh man, I liked it first time. You know when you overdo something. I'm just saying.
How many people message saying it's still stuck in my head today?
I know, same. We're even arguing on chat. We're even arguing on the WhatsApp chat that we've got between us on who was best, S Club 7 or Girls Allowed.
Don't say that. Why would you
And
say
then
that?
we went through the bongo.
I wasn't involved.
We actually talked about which one
neither was
I was not involved in this.
Neither was I.
I do not
I
do
didn't involve
shit
in that
compared
shit.
with spew comparisons. I do not do it.
Sorry, Anne, please answer the goddamn question. You just didn't look
Okay. I'm a massive
hold
fan,
on.
right?
Sorry, Anne. Sorry. I feel I need to defend myself a little bit more.
You
This
bloody
is
do.
in the event of us having nobody up front. Understand? That's it. That's all I've got to say.
Okay, just
Sounds
everyone
like-
agree with
sounds
him.
like-
So he
So
shuts
have
up.
I. So have I, Chris.
Sounds like backtracking bullshit to me.
Yeah, revisionism. Go on, Anne.
It's not. Listen to it again.
Yeah, I absolutely adore Danilo. He is a fabulous player. People, I think, have already kind of forgotten what he was like last season because he had a couple of indifferent games this season playing out of position. Now, to me,
Would you
and
put him
you
in
guys
S
can
class?
correct me if you disagree.
Would you put him in S class?
No,
Yeah.
just say no. The
Yeah.
answer's no.
Please.
Sorry, I
just got rid of it.
Sorry,
Go on,
it was
let me
fun,
just
man. I
remove
didn't
it.
get where you were coming from.
Go on, Anne. Go on.
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think he's got so much talent, so much promise. We've got to try and get him into that team. However, I believe he's probably a number 8, to be honest. I think he
Yeah.
can do. I think he can do both defensive and offensive work, and he's got the engine.
Isn't that
Problem
what I've
is-
just said?
Problem is, what does that mean for Dominguez? Because to me,
I don't know. You
Dominguez
tell
is an
me.
8.
You tell
To
me.
me, Dominguez is an 8. This is what I'm saying, and you cannot drop Dominguez. He's an 8 for me. Mangala for me is a central midfielder, and he's bloody brilliant at it. He wins so many balls. He wins so many balls. He looks after it well. He's press resistant. Yes, he might play simple passes. In that position, that's all you need. That's all you need. Just get it to a red shirt who then can progress the ball.
Is someone going to give me an answer to the question?
Yeah, I'm
Hang on,
going
so-
to.
Danilo
Dropping
should come back in for Mangala.
Dropping Mangala would lead you 2 players that are quite offensive and nobody to hold that midfield. So I'm worried. So at the moment, I wouldn't bring him in at the moment.
Okay.
I wait until somebody either drops off in form or gets injured or suspended.
Enough. Ez.
Go on,
Ez.
Ez
Right.
is the voice of reason tonight. Come on, Ez.
Oh, God,
Ez
shit.
wants it on a fence,
Pressure's
man.
on.
Seriously.
Right. Well, Sangare was brought in as a number 6. I haven't really seen him play as a number 6. Mangala, I've got to say, he's looked good on the eye test. He's been our best player. He's linked up the play, but he's not progressed us. You know, he does link up the play from a back to the centre midfielders, but then there's no progression. I would like to see Sangare, if he's going to be that marquee signing, that number 6, play as that number 6. I think that might have hindered his progress so far, that he's not been really playing the position that we know he's good at. We know that he was brought in for. Give him that responsibility. I would have to drop Mangala in this circumstances to bring Danilo in. But then when you've got 2 progressive number 8s in Dominguez and Danilo, it allows Sangare to do his job. We don't need, like I said, Mangala looks nice connecting all those passes, but it never progresses us. You know, it'll get us out of a few little tight spots, defensively, but I don't see enough progression in that. So although he looks good on the eye and he does pass the eye test, I think Mangala is a luxury player actually in that position. I'd like to see Sangare play as a number 6, hold that be his responsibility to get the ball off the back line and to link up and find the number 8s. And then you've got 2 progressive number 8s in a Danilo and Dominguez who can actually possibly do their roles that they're supposed to do. That's how I'd play it. I'd change his role altogether because I think when you've watched the 3 of them as it has been, Mangala's often been the deepest. And yes, it looks nice when he collects the ball off a back line and does those quick little sharp passes. But in terms of progression of the field, it's just not working. So I stick Sangare in there, give him that responsibility. Maybe then we'll start seeing the best of it. I do think, he might be one that takes time to settle in, but that's a different point altogether. Play him as a number 6. Play Sangare as a number 6. Let your number 8s do their role. Free them up a little bit from their defensive duties. And then I think we might see a bit more progression in the team. And that's how I'd get Danilo in.
So where are you putting MGW then?
MGW's ahead of them, MGW is ahead of those number 2 number 8s, So you almost got a diamond formation in your midfield with the 4.
Yeah, Villa play with a 4-4-2.
Then, aren't you?
Villa box it. Villa are so fluid in their midfield. I don't think we can look at them as an example, but they've got 4 very fluid midfielders, but one that sticks pretty much defensively because Luis will switch further forward. McGinn moves further forward. When the Italian's playing, I'm forgetting his name right now. He's progressive. So they've really only got one number holding midfielder that stays in that position, and I'm forgetting his name as well. So they're probably they're probably that's it. They're probably a formation to look at how they play their 4 in midfield because they're very fluid and but more often than not, we're playing in the box formation. But I think if you've got Sangare at the bottom in that number 6 position, which is what we bought him in for, I think then you'll see the ability to release the other 2. But with Mangala in that team, it just doesn't work.
If you're playing 4 in midfield, you're losing either a striker or a defender, aren't you? You can only have 11.
We haven't got any striker. We haven't got any. I think what Ez is talking about is the next few games.
Yeah.
What about Taiwo?
Well, he's not going to be
the knife,
90 minutes every game over the next 10 games, is he? Let's be honest.
Minutes in the knife with Taiwo, mate.
I agree with Ez there. The whole point is that we need to get those 8s, or whether it's 2 or 3, going forward more. Because at the end of the day, we're not creating enough and we're not scoring enough. That's it. I think we've got a fairly solid defence now. If I look at the team as in terms of strength, the defence and midfield, for me, are sorted. It's the forward line. And just pure lack of numbers.
This is a
Villa preview. If we go back to Villa play most times with a 4-4-2, and they are beatable away. They've not got great away form, right? So if you're playing narrow at the top, we're gonna give up so much space on the sides with 2v1 down both sides.
So who's your midfield then, Dino? You're on about he's older than Steve Stone. How can he be his little child?
All right, maybe. All right. It's really. Yo, Mark's had a life today, man. I ain't seen him in any of the streams. I was a little worried about you, bro. Good to see you back, mate. And apparently, Mark, I'm being told that that's a catfish profile picture.
Yeah, I told you that, guys.
Hope you're well, bro. Okay.
Listen, it's just as handsome in real life. Take my word for it.
Anyway, right. I want to just realize something that we're doing a Villa preview stream, and it wasn't until Ez said Villa there for the first time that we've spoken about them. So let's actually spend the next section talking about this Villa game, right? Because I love
talk about Tino and Vlachodimos. Vlachodimos.
Talk about it. Did you just say Tom in the ass?
Something like that, yeah. It came out that way.
Anyway,
sorry.
Anyway, bless Luke. But if I have to look at his smiley face one more time, right?
He was ace. Luke was. Mate, it was great.
Yeah, except he said
we should be like that. We should be there.
Quick enough, didn't it?
Yeah. I let that one slide.
Quick enough.
I let that one slide. But that's he's okay to be a happy clapper. Yeah, you could see it beaming every time he said Emery. Luckily, the camera only went up to here on him. Yeah, But it was like he was just constantly happy. Every time he mentioned a player, he said it with happiness, man. God,
Did you hear what he said about Emery, though? The thing I found interesting about what he said about Emery was that he makes all the decisions. The decisions. And that's certainly not at our club and a lot of other clubs in the country as well.
It's not just that. It's that, you know what got me worried when he spoke? I hope he's not watching. Love you really, Luke, right? But when he started talking about Emery presents to the players, this is how the opposition is going to play. This is what you need to do to beat them. Now you go figure out the rest and get on there and stick to this plan. And I'm like, do we do that?
How does he know how does he know what Emery says to his players? He's got no idea.
No, because actually, to be fair to him, the players have come out and said, I mean, even Matty Cash's interview after their last game, you know, he spoke a little bit about what Emery says behind the scenes and what he said at halftime and so. So if it is coming from the players, you know, I don't think he's got a bat phone linking to Emery, to be honest. But there was a lot of comments, and yes, he did look happy, but he also said that he'd been watching our channel last season as well and seeing our progress and how we were up and down throughout the year. So he had a lot of high hopes for us. You know, he expected for us to be in a high position as we did. So looking from the outside, there are others are expecting more from us as well. So we're not deluded for expecting more from Forest ourselves, you know, as fans. So that was comforting to hear, to be honest. But the more he was talking, the more it was worrying me, because I understand what Dino's saying. The home form and away form, there's a big difference between the two. But we're not a team that most of us really look at and think, you know, yes, we have improved defensively, but I think there's still teams that think they can come to us and at least get a point from a City ground, and that shouldn't be the case. They should be thinking, you know, how are we going to get anything out of Forest, out of City ground? So I think we are a little bit, in perception-wise, even though some teams are saying we should be better, the reality is that we haven't been. You know, we're still hovering around. It's only because the teams below us are so poor, but we're not more in this relegation. I don't know where he's gone. We're not more embroiled in this relegation battle, but we're not far off it, you know. And there was a stage last season, I think it was just after Christmas, where we were 5 points clear of a relegation zone. And we were saying, "Oh, don't worry about it." It didn't take long for us to get dragged into it, you know. And I'm worrying about that again right now. But we're in a false position in a way, because the points, although there is a points gap between us and the bottom three teams, in reality, there's not that much difference, you know, and we're nowhere near where we should be. So we've underperformed so far. I think I'm worried about tomorrow. I genuinely am. Not tomorrow.
Sunday.
I'm worried about Sunday. I am worried about tomorrow for other reasons, but I'm worried about Sunday as well, because I'll put it down as a draw. A scoring draw.
Hugely rescued here. So
you know what? If we can keep, oh my god, I always forget his name. What's the bloody? He's in my Premier League team, midfield attacker next to Watkins.
Diaby.
If we keep Diaby quiet, we keep Watkins quiet. If we keep Diaby and Watkins quiet, we keep Villa quiet. I mean, their last. This is the Premier League. I take your point. Sarko, I think it was Sarko, about the beat AZ Alkmaar 4-1 in the last away game. But if we take the Premier League games away, Wolves 1, Villa 1, Chelsea 0, Villa 1, which is what Forest did to Chelsea this season. Liverpool 3, Villa 0. These are all Villa away games. Burnley 1, Villa 3. And then Newcastle 5, Villa 1, if you remember that one on the TV. So they're not great away, but you know, like I say, I think if they've set up, other than the Newcastle one, they've set up 4-4-2 away. And
but it's more fluid than that, Dino. It's way more fluid.
Listen, you don't need to tell me about fluidity, and they've not got natural wingers, have they?
Yeah,
mate, I do this all the time. I look at.
Okay, but something I want to put you up on, Dino, is what you're talking about with their away form and saying they're not as good. When you deep hit, in it and deep hit.
Gone all YouTube.
When you deep hit, blood, right? When you deep hit, blood, they've lost away to Liverpool and Newcastle and drew with.
No, they got hammered by Newcastle and Liverpool
on the first day of the season.
5-1, 3-0.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and they drew 1-1.
And what I'm
with
saying is
Wolves.
that, everybody's talking about them being this unbeatable team and they're fantastic and they're doing well in the league. Listen, they're a good team. They've got Louise, they've got other players as well that are good. But we beat a lot of good teams at the City Ground last year, and we have better players this year. I think there's just certain little things. It's a bit like Man U. I know you don't like talking about Man U. It's a bit like Man U. Last season to this season, it's tiny, tiny, tiny changes. Rashford, brilliant last season, shit this season. Casemiro, fantastic last season, not as good this season. There's tiny, tiny changes.
You can say shit. Okay.
And I think if we can get people like MGW and Sangare singing, then we'll be fine.
Mm.
I know what you're saying, because we're undefeated since we played Man U at the City Ground. We just got a knack. I still think it could be a draw, but all right, let's move this on anyway.
Can I remind you? We have lost to 2 teams in the Premier League at home. 2 teams, Newcastle and Man U.
Okay.
In the last year, yeah.
Yeah, we're playing
That's
Villa.
not bad, is it? It shows there's something to our home form, Dino, despite saying it's not a fortress. It says something to our
it is.
about our, now. What I believe will help us on Sunday, and I really hope, is that A, we put the right team out. B, we play with passion and see the crowds up for it, which I'm sure they will be. If that's the case on those 3 things, I think we have a chance. Villa have not got a brilliant. They've won 2 out of 5 away from home, so they've not got. They're not Man City, for God's sake. So there's a chance. There's a chance.
All right, but you wanted to talk about the keeper, right?
Tyrone must play. And
let's start with
the keeper.
Yeah, let's start with the keeper, Ant, because it kind of felt to me the way Cooper was talking in the press conference. Again, the press conference is on the channel if you haven't seen it. I mean, it's not the most exciting press conference. I'll warn you now. Don't operate heavy.
But at least you can hear the questions when we do it.
Hey,
But and he seemed to hint that, look, Turner fucked up. He made a mistake, but we all make mistakes.
You know
like,
what?
As was born.
It was the most confusing message I've ever heard, because you're absolutely spot on. He said, keepers make mistakes and we can't keep making mistakes, but then we learn from them. We've got to, I'm sure he'll, in his next game, it won't happen and we'll support him. And I'm thinking, hang on, so is he out or not then, mate? Just tell us, is he out or not? Of course he's not going to. And I don't blame him. To be fair, I don't blame him not telling us. But it was very mixed, wasn't it? It was very like, we'll make mistakes, but he's got to learn from it.
That sounded to me as they were supporting him to play.
I think he will bring Vlachodimos in. I think he will.
You just said you don't think he will.
If he does, I think he looks like a bit of an idiot in that press conference. I think that was really I
agree,
I'm going to give him another chance. I think that was a kind of vote of confidence for a player, if there was such a thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
that's what it sounded like. Now,
it did sound like
I know
that,
you all think I'm a Turner lover, but if Vlachodimos ends up brilliant keeper, I don't care.
He'll learn from it. We'll help him. Well, when you're saying that normally thinks, but meanwhile, we'll put somebody else in until we get
chat. VOT, who starts in goal? I can't be asked to do a poll, so just VOT the chat, right?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at this thinking, and I mean it with all due respect. If he doesn't use this opportunity to drop Turner to test out Vlachodimos,
it's not about fucking Bond in the chat.
That's the best bit of the whole stream, the Bond bit. We should end up on that.
All right, go on, Ez. What are you thinking here? Will he drop him? There's a lot of teams.
Sorry, Ez, can I just very I promise to be quick. Can you just make sure that it's, do you think he'll start or is it who you prefer to start? Because there's a lot of teas in there.
What the fuck is Chris doing, man? Hennessy.
It's fairly even, to be honest. It was some early teas and now there's a lot of V's.
Right. To the people.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that message. We did a poll, didn't we, on our community tab, and it was like 85% wanted to see Vlachodimos in.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what the reaction is from the crowd if Vlachodimos doesn't come in. Because I've you know what, I've said this. I've beaten this drum for a few weeks now. I think he is the better goalkeeper. And I know you talk about the price tag, but that's to do with Premier League tax, mate. We got Premier League taxed on Turner. That's why he costs more than Vlachodimos.
Interesting point.
In an open market, you couldn't compare them two goalkeepers in price tag wise, in my opinion. So I do think he was brought in as number one. I genuinely still believe that. I think this is as good an opportunity as any for Cooper to bring him in. But he was very cryptic in what he says. So how would that come across to fans? I think the fans would be more surprised if he sticks with Turner for the Villa game. I don't think anybody really, the majority of the fans won't be against Vlachodimos coming in now, because sooner or later we're going to have to see him. And we've talked about it for a few weeks now. You know, Turner needs to make a mistake. Well, he's made a big mistake. He's made a couple of huge mistakes so far this season. And there was no really... I know Cooper tried to make excuses for him, but you can't excuse that decision. It made no sense for him to do what he did for that third goal. Not when he had Toffolo there, and you can see Toffolo having the right go at him at the end of it. So for me... he has to bring Vlachodimos in, and I think the majority of the fans will back him on that. If he sticks with Turner, I think it shows a bit of weakness from him, to be honest. You've got to be, as a manager,
Is it or is he just trying not to break him?
Well, I think he needs to make those big decisions. I don't give a shit. With no sense of sentimentality, you know. If you're a manager, you manage the players' expectations as well. How's Vlachodimos thinking? You know, we've already heard rumours of him being unsettled, you know, and I'm sorry, Turner just seems like too much of a nice guy to be upset by being left out. So I've had this situation myself, you know, we had to choose between two. I went with the one that I knew would take it best, you know, so I dropped the one that, you know, I knew would take it. I think Turner would take it.
Wait, what are you talking about?
What context do you need to expand on this?
I'm talking about when you're bringing in somebody else, when you've got a decision.
No, your context.
Yeah, but you're talking about women.
Well, you know, the chat's really interested in the context that you meant.
I could technically,
you had a choice of two, but you brought in one.
Anymore, but no, basically I had to choose between two trainees.
You had two, Ez.
I had two trainees.
You kicked one out of bed, right? Oh, sorry, two.
You should not get buy one, get one free.
I had to keep one, I had to move one on. I moved on to one that I knew would take it best, and they did take it best.
Did she take it best, did she? Isn't that the one you keep?
She took it very... It was a she as well. She took it very well. We got her a job later on, but yeah, that was basically my point. But yeah, I think Turner... Listen, shut up. I think Turner would put up and shut up. I don't think he's got to kick up a fuss. I think Vlachodimos, the longer you leave him on the bench, I think that causes unrest. I don't think we need that unrest in our team. And, you know, go with a Greek. I'm saying, yeah, give it to the Greek. Bring him in.
If he's performing in training, then great. But what I saw today in training was him getting beat by everybody in the team. Did you see training today? I've got a way to beat Villa.
No,
you know?
And he looked crap.
He did look crap. Guys, chat, if you've seen, go and have a look at the training video. It's so funny. They've got the smallest goals. I know how we can beat Villa. Just put our goal as a small goal, their goal as a big goal, and then just swap it around at half time. I'm sure the ref won't notice. We'll be fine. We'll win. Don't we look great in training, though? Don't you think? Everybody's scoring.
No, it's so false to stop watching.
Then we get to we nearly said Saturday. Then we get to a Sunday, which seems to be our regular weekly game day, and we can't hit a barn door from 2 yards. Yes. Can we discuss training? We can.
All right, let's move on.
I've got big fingers.
And would you start Taiwo?
Yeah.
Okay.
If he's fit enough, of course I would. Why would I not?
Yeah.
All right, sorry, I was just asking. I wasn't accusing.
That wasn't direct to you. That was a rhetorical. Why not? Hey, why not? Hey,
Arriba.
Why not?
All right. I don't know what Emma's talking about.
If he's fit enough, I'd start him. Yeah.
I'll just point this at Dino.
Emma, go on.
Can we discuss the training, Aguilera?
I've not watched
what that means.
Yeah, I mean, if we're playing that 10 role, Aguilera is a natural fit for MGW. But when will Aguilera get a chance? It looks like never this season. But there's also
he's too young.
We're going to play a 10.
He hasn't even got hair on his ass yet. He's too young.
But there's also a
Well, I've got
shout
it on his
for.
arse, I've seen it.
But there's also a shout for under 23 striker, isn't there?
Yeah.
On the bench, surely.
Yeah, what's his face scored a few, didn't he?
Song, yeah.
No, not Osung, the other one. I gone blank.
Oh.
Chat, help me.
I'll be a Irish one.
I thought he was away.
He's out on loan, isn't he, the Irish guy?
Yeah, I thought he was as well.
Chat, who is the one who's got
It's up for then.
inside? All right.
Emma, what you got me
Hey,
into here?
the Nella Dan, congratulations. We're just got to close the stream. I'm joking. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Okay.
Hey, mate.
All right, let's get on to these
It
scores.
is in Ezra's when he gets to choose his 2 assistants.
Oh, mate, Ez was born with one, mate.
What we talked about?
Well,
let's
here
hear
we
it.
are. She had to go.
What's up?
Thank you. It's
clapped it now.
Canate. He's
All
not
right,
a striker, though, is he? He's not a striker. He's a number 10, isn't he?
It's a song that's
Oh, here he asks.
Oh, song's
Is he
a
a great
striker.
number 10? Here he asks.
Anyway, would you guys put a song on the bench?
I don't care. I don't care.
Why?
Striker on the bench.
He's not a Premier League striker, is he? Come on, let's
He's
be
a
honest.
striker, though.
Yeah, I am.
What?
I am. That's my position. I'm a striker.
Yeah, but you're like 300 years
Goal
old,
hanger.
mate. I agree,
Yeah, but that
Stanley.
was your that was your qualification. You didn't say he's young and he's a striker. You just said he's a striker.
Yeah, but
He's
you
got
get my
nothing to lose,
point.
has he?
You get my point.
Tyro played 60 minutes. Young lad comes on for the rest.
He
There you go.
definitely
He's got
won't
nothing to
last
lose,
a
has
night.
he?
He definitely
There's no
won't last a night, yeah.
expectations, but when are you going to bring these young kids through? That's the thing.
Yeah, that is a good
Striker.
question.
No,
That is a
no,
good
I agree.
question.
I agree. He definitely won't last 60 minutes, and I would have no problem whatsoever bringing on. I'd rather a young striker come on than just change formation and end up with no bloody striker. Do you know what I
The
mean?
trouble is, the iPad says no. And this is my plug for the high press. So I've done a video today on wearable technology with the iPad and what all the vests mean. And go and watch it after you've watched this, or when you're bored, go watch it.
Yeah. Oh, if you need to go to sleep after this stream,
Yeah.
Yeah, watch
Watch
that one.
perfect for it.
You
Okay.
can see what
Score
all the
predictions,
tech
chat.
does in the
Score
vest.
predictions. Dino.
Well, I've got 2-1 in the thingy, but in the
What, to us? 2-1 win?
no, in the predictor league. But I'm going
Yeah,
to
but
stick
2-1
my
who?
neck out and say 2-1 Forest.
Wait, did you go 2-1
Morgan
for
Gibbs-White to set up 2.
Whoa. Did you go 2-1 Villa in the predictor league?
Yeah, but I do mine like so far in advance.
Shut up. What excuse is that? I do it so far in
It's a
advance.
great excuse. I use it every week. It's not true, but I use it every week. 2-1 Forest. Listen, we could beat these. We beat better teams than this at home last year.
I
mean,
got
why
Why
did
did
you
you put 2-1? Why did you put 2-1 to Villa in the predictor league then?
That's what I've just said. Are we in the twilight zone again?
You always
cannot
are
do
when I'm
two
around. I'm old, you know.
Because I want to win. I want to win the predictor league.
Ed's,
No, my Forest fan is like, come on, we can win this. We can win this 2-1. If we keep
Yeah,
Derby
but you
quiet,
said we'd get 12 points out of those 4 games, mate. We've got
That's
1
true.
point so far.
That's
yeah,
true,
but
yeah,
that was for the clicks, mate. That was for the clicks.
Yeah,
This
that
one's not
worked.
for the clicks.
God, Ed's.
Same as Nico Williams. That was for the clicks.
I've gone with a draw in the predictor league. I'm going to stick. Yeah. Emma, I'll sort something out. Don't worry. I've gone for a draw in the predictor league, and I'm going to stick with that draw. I went with a 2-0 in the predictor league. I don't know where I saw us getting 2 goals from, but I'll go 1-0. Let's be a bit more conservative. I'll go 1-0 draw Sunday.
And
MGW to score.
definitely.
I think Villa will win 2-1, but I went 1-1 in the predictor league, and on here I'm going 2-1 to Forest because I've had a couple of wines, and I think
You
if
got all
we
your
play the
bases
right
covered, then.
formation-
What if it gets called off?
What?
Well, PP.
That's true.
I think if we play the right formation, i.e. the one I'd pick, with the right players, i.e. the ones I'd pick, I think we can win 2-1. So I'm going for 2-1 on the proviso he picks my players in my formation.
Look, all I'm guaranteeing is that MGW is going to score. What the score is going to be?
No, it's
I
going
have
to stop.
no idea.
It's going to
Yeah,
stop.
put him-
Yeah, he'll get assists. It won't
Put him
score.
down to score
Start.
any time.
And do you know why NGW score? Because he is S Club 7 level.
Right.